De'Aaron Fox is coming off one of the craziest weekends we have ever seen from a basketball player. Fox dropped 60 points at home against the Timberwolves on Friday night, but it wasn't enough as the Kings lost an absolute thriller in overtime thanks to one of the baddest dudes in the league, Anthony Edwards, who himself had 36 points. After that long, heartbreaking battle, there was no time to rest or recover as Fox and the Kings had another game the following night against the Jazz. And how does Fox follow up his historic 60-point performance? By dropping another 49 points, this time in a 4-point win. So, for those of you counting at home, that is 109 points in 24 hours. That is the most points ever by a point guard in back-to-back games. The most points in back-to-back games since the late, great Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, who scored 110 points back in 2007. The only other player to ever do what Fox and Kobe did was Wilt Chamberlain, who of course did it 15 fucking times. Are you kidding me? That is insane. That was in the 1960s though, so take that as you will. But that just goes to show how crazy it is what Fox just did. He joined two guys who are arguably top 10 players ever, but aside from some posts by the NBA and Bleacher Report and a few other basketball Twitter accounts I follow, not a single soul has said a word. Now, yesterday I was like, okay, it's Sunday, guys like Stephen A. or Kevin O'Connor or whatever other talk show or podcast hosts, they're not going to record anything until Monday. But I wake up Monday morning and what do I see? Nothing. From nobody. Now, I don't actively watch or seek out Stephen A. Smith content, but when one of my favorite players does something insane or historic, I do like to see somebody in the national media at least talk about it. I don't know why. I don't think I need that validation, but apparently I do. Now, shout out Jeff Teague. He gave Fox a shout out on his pod. Kenny Beecham also tweeted a little bit about Fox, so I appreciate that. But there are plenty of big names, including current NBA players, who make their voices heard anytime a player in the league does something crazy. But, of course, when De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings does something that no current NBA player has ever done, it's crickets. Makes me sick, man. And the thing that really pisses me off is that if this were anyone else, literally any other top 15 guard in the league, everybody would be talking about it. There would be dick riding, there would be glazing, there would be all sorts of stuff along those lines. You get what I'm saying. But that fact alone leads me to believe that De'Aaron Fox is the most underrated player in the entire NBA. And if you don't agree with me, let me convince you. So by now, I'm sure you've heard, if you watched the first couple minutes of this video, you've definitely heard Fox dropped 60 points the other night. His old career high was 44, so he blew way past that. Didn't even just get 50. He got 60 points. It's the first 60-point game in the NBA this season. What makes it a little bit more crazy, in my opinion, is that the rest of his team scored 66 points. So Fox had 60, the rest of the Kings had 66. And the Kings were down 20 points in that game. And Fox basically single-handedly brought them back into that game. Without Fox, they'd probably lose by 30. Kevin Huerter, Trey Lyles, and Keon Ellis combined for 14 points, which is insane. Those are three of their key contributors, especially when DeRozan and Monk were out. Now, those guys did play some great defense in the fourth quarter, and without those stops, it doesn't really matter how many points Fox puts up. But still, Fox did not have any help. He had all the attention on him. The T-Wolves knew what was coming. They knew Fox was taking it to the paint every time, and they still couldn't stop him. And it's not like he was doing this against scrubs. He was doing this against Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. These are top-end defenders. Not to mention, Fox did a lot of his damage near or at the rim. And the Timberwolves have a pretty damn good rim protector. Can't stand his ass, but Gobert is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now, after that incredible performance on Friday night, he follows it up on Saturday night with a 49-point performance. 109 points in back-to-back games. Like I said, the most since Kobe had 110 in 2007. And then, the only other player to ever do it was Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know if that really counts. It has to count because it's in the record books. But it was a different time. That was over 50 years ago, the last time Wilt had a performance like that. But if you were watching the games, you could see Fox was exhausted after his 60-point overtime performance. He looked exhausted at times during the game against the Jazz the following night. But it didn't matter because he's just too locked in. That play where he stole the ball, lost his shoe, got his shoe back on, and still finished the fast break layup was probably the play you'd choose to show somebody who you're trying to explain how locked in this guy was, for that 24-hour period. Like, that's the play that shows it all. That was crazy. I don't know if I've seen something like that before. Was it the most impressive 2 points he got out of those 109? Probably not. But the fact that he lost his shoe, got it back on while keeping his dribble alive, and then still got down the court before really anybody else, it's crazy, bro. It was insane. Now, that Jazz game, the one where he dropped 49 points, the Kings were without 3 of their 4 best players, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis, and Malik Monk. And while they did get much bigger offensive contributions from Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter and even McLaughlin, they needed another huge night from Fox to get the win. They needed all 49 of those points. Now, Fox did go 14 of 19 from the free throw line, so he could have had a nice even 50 points. And maybe if he gets to 50, people start to care. Wouldn't count on it, though. But yeah, you get it. He scored 109 points in 24 hours. It's crazy. But, you might be thinking, that's great, but, 2 games in November does not make you a top player in the league. And that is correct. But it definitely doesn't hurt. And I do have some more stats for you that maybe you haven't seen that should help prove my point even further. Fox is first in the league in clutch points with 45. The next closest guy is Jokic with 38 points. I do want to mention, too, DeMar DeRozan is fourth with 36 points, and he hasn't played since the first half of that Suns game a week ago. So that's kind of cool. The Kings have 2 of the 5 clutchest players in the league right now. Fox is averaging 29 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds on 61% true shooting, all while being one of the best ISO defenders in the league so far this season. He's averaging almost 2 steals per game. He has the best defensive field goal percentage in the league. He has the least points per possession given up when guarding ISOs by an almost unbelievable margin. Any metric you look at will show that Fox, especially among point guards, is one of, if not the best on-ball defenders in the entire league. I believe he's also first or maybe second in the league in tipped passes, which I know is kind of a niche stat, but it just helps to show how involved and active he is on the defensive side of the ball. It's something you don't see a ton of from guys who are averaging almost 30 points per game. And it really is just a shame he doesn't get the credit he deserves as, again, one of, if not the best two-way point guards in the entire NBA. I would put SGA above him, but Fox has definitely closed the gap, at least so far this year. Now, Fox's only real Achilles heel, now that he's improved his three-point shooting, is his free throw shooting. He's a career 74% free throw shooter. This year, however, he's shooting 84% from the line, a 10% increase. And even if it falls back down to 80, that's still a huge improvement, and it just shows how well-rounded of a player he has become and is still developing into. Every year, he's gotten better. But the harsh truth, the fact of the matter is, until Fox leads the Kings to a deep playoff run, he's just not going to get the respect that he deserves. I hope this is the team to do it because I don't know if I can handle another year of people disrespecting one of the greatest talents in the entire league. We need playoff Fox, man, because what's crazy is that he's even better when the lights are brightest. It's not a coincidence that he's the clutchest player in the league. He's built for those moments, and I hope we get to see him in a lot of those moments this year. Maybe people will finally start waking up. But for those of us who have been awake and have been aware of Fox's greatness, just keep enjoying it, man. Who gives a fuck who's talking about him or not talking about him? You know how great he is. You watch him every night. You appreciate it. And that's all that matters. I hope he drops 50 tonight, man. Keep going off until Michael Jordan comes out of retirement and says, man, if y'all motherfuckers can't stop him, then I will. His over-under is 33.5 points tonight, by the way. Do with that information what you please. Like, subscribe, go Kings, light the beam.